I was making some posts on TikTok. If you want to follow me on TikTok, feel free to do that because I have been recently transferring a lot of my content. Well, it's not going to make too huge of an impact on my YouTube page for now, but I have been attempting to transfer some of my content over there because I have found it to be relatively successful recently. So I'm trying to tap into that social media platform. But, anyways, I was making a post over there the other day about seasonal depression, and it was kind of a randomish post, but I realized in recent years that I experience seasonal depression. I was never formally diagnosed, but I feel like seasonal depression is something where if you have a clinical depression diagnosis, it's not really something that I need to go see a therapist or something to have them tell me, oh yeah, what you're experiencing is seasonal depression. Because in fact, um, I have a tough time at this time of year every year. So I just know that that's what it is. So what that means for me is between the months of probably November through January, February, I wake up in the morning and I have a tough time getting out of bed. It's like the weather, it's cold during these times. A lot of times it's cloudy, it's dark. And then I don't know why, but towards this time of year, I start to think about where I am in my life in comparison to where I would like to be. The things that I thought that I would have achieved by this time of my life, they seem to just weigh heavier on me at this time of year. And I think that that's just the nature of depression in general. Like when somebody is feeling a strong bout of depression, things that you could normally push to the side as background noise just become the main vocals going through your head. But something that I have learned to do that helps me to feel better is that I break down life into seasons. And the way how I came to that point was because last year my world felt like it came crashing down when I lost my dad. So there was multiple things going on at once. It was not just my dad's illness. I was going through things at work. I was going through things personally. And my dad was sick and dying at the same time. So I remember a friend of mine who contacted me, and they would reach out from time to time to ask me how I'm doing. And my answer I would always have something new that was bad. I'm like, now this happened to me. Now this happened. Now this is going on. And this particular person told me, they were like, hey, Mark, I know that all these things are going on for you, and I'm sorry about that. But it's just not your season right now. And they were like, next season is going to be your season. This is just a season where you have to go through these hard times. So I started I kept that with me in my head. And I started to say that to myself every year when I get to this point. I'm like, Mark, you have reached that point of the season for you. There's a saying that goes, don't try to steer the river. Hi, Ira. There's a saying that goes, don't try to steer the river. That just means you're not going to be in control of the river. There are certain times, it depends on the wind, the tides. There are certain times when you're going to be able to be more in control than others, but it's not based on you, because the element of change is something that we have no control over. We can control what we can control, but if there's one thing that's going to be very constant in life, it's going to be change. And we have to accept that. I was just talking to some dude about seasons. Yeah, it's funny. Years ago when I lived in Georgia for a brief amount of time, I remember what that was like. There was seasons, but they were not as dramatically different as they are over here. Because here we have a season when it's hot, we have a season when it's cold. We don't get that much snow anymore, though. Global warming is the thing for that. We don't get tons of snow. But yeah, metaphorically, we all have seasons. We have seasons of abundance. I'm sure everybody has had seasons of life where it's like, wow, I've had so much good fortune during this time. Then there's other seasons where it's like, why does it seem like nothing in my life is according to what I would like? Or why does it seem like I have all this misfortune happening in my life? And then there's seasons where everything is just kind of calm and mellow. Could be better, could be worse, but it's just a peaceful season. So, weathering the storms, living in the present, recognizing that no hard times are going to last forever. If you're going through the worst of it right now, don't think that you're stuck there. Think of things that you can appreciate about the present moment. Focus on those things. Fixate on those things. If you have one happy thought for the day, like, hold on to that happy thought. Remember on Hook, if y'all remember the movie Hook with Robin Williams, that was a classic movie. That was one of my absolute favorite movies growing up. And I remember, in order for him to tap back into being Peter Pan, he had to lock into his happy place. And I think that in life, sometimes there's many good things going on, and it's very easy where you're like, I'm happy for this celebration that I just had, or I'm happy for this money that I just came into, or I'm happy for this new friend that I just made. But there's other times where life is so difficult that it's hard to actually tap into those happy places. If you can only find one thing that you feel happy about for the whole day, do your best to think about that thing. Lean into that. That's your happy place. And happiness is relative also. Sometimes it finds us, but most of the time, we have to create it for ourselves. So that's my quick message for the day. Thanks for tuning in. I might do an overall recap for The Circle, because I mentioned on my community page, I did start watching The Circle again. I mentioned on my membership page why I stopped watching The Circle, but I tapped back in. I think I'm on episode 7 of season 7, and it's been good so far. I've enjoyed it. So I might recap that. There's no challenge episode coming up this week, unfortunately. I'm somewhat catching up with Survivor, just to update y'all on some things that I might possibly get on here and talk about, but this is just my morning topic for Monday. And thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll talk to y'all soon.